Hello everyone, this is a brief overview of course organization and assessment. So after this very first introductory session where we give you a little bit of an overview of the first part of the concepts we are using, we have 4 further sessions. The second session looks into online spaces, disruptive pedagogies. The third session in object-based learning. The fourth session explores the notion of landscapes and environment. And the fifth session is a showcase and lessons learned. So please pay attention to the course organization. It is quite different from how all the other courses work. So if you're an online learner, you're all set. You just go into Moodle and work your way through this process. If you're attending the classroom sessions, there are some changes of locations from week to week. So technically, we always have the room 221 booked in the St. Andrews building. However, one point of the second session on online learning is that you are actually engaged online. So that first session will only take 1 hour in the classroom from 10 to 11, while you do the second hour online. And you participate in that activity online with the learners who are purely online. The third session, Object-Based Learning, will take part on the 2nd of October in Kelvin Hall in the teaching lab, and it will last 2 full hours, and it is led by Monica Callahan, who is the head of education for the Hunterian. There is also an online activity to participate in, where you can find an object, an annotated photo or screenshot, and upload it and share it with one another. So this is the activity you do in your own study time for this particular session. Session 4, we are back in the St. Andrews building. However, we are going to meet in classroom 221, and then we will spend some time in the outdoors in Calvin Park, and we are discussing the notion of educational landscapes. And one of the activities we would like to run in this session, and this is for the classroom session as well as online, is bring a pedagogical challenge, and we want to use the design thinking approach to help you, and peer feedback to help you solve this challenge. So for instance, your students always have a problem with X and you really want to change how you teach X because you have evidence, or you have the feeling that your students really can't come to grips with that particular issue. And there is a process that involves peer feedback that can help you solve a pedagogical problem like that and come up with a session design that can address this problem. So, and we can do this online using peer feedback, and we will do part of that in the classroom as well. Please always use the discussion forums on Moodle to engage with one another, also for the people who can't participate in the actual classroom and who are only able to participate online, so that we get some discussion going. What we also offer in session 4 is an open discussion forum where you post any question you have up until this point. And Vicky and I will look at all your questions, and then we will create a responsive video to answer all of these questions and give you basically almost like a feedback lecture, a feedback online lecture on all the questions you have up until this point. The fifth lesson, we've taken over an activity that has been run before on a PG Cap, which is a showcase session. So we are trying to get the biophilic room in the St. Andrews building, which is one of the new active learning spaces. So you make the experience of being in one of those new active learning spaces while engaging in a very, very active and student-led session. So as you can see, the whole course is a bit meta. So what we would like to do in this 3-hour session is that until a certain point in time, each of you sends us an email with what they would like to do in a session. So what has happened in previous years, for instance, is someone who wants to try a new teaching technique or a new learning activity and wants to do that in a friendly environment where they can get peer feedback before going with that and taking that to the students. You can do this. If you have found any resources on the way, or you've used resources before that were really successful and you want to share this with the rest of the group, you can do that. You can showcase these. So we had people showcasing the use of social media in their teaching, or someone had found a really good classroom voting system they have used before. And so you can showcase all kinds of things you want to share with us, or you have questions about, or you want to experiment with and get a bit of peer feedback. If you are in the classroom, we are covering that in as part of this 3-hour session. If you are online, we have put something up in Moodle where you can showcase that in Moodle, and we encourage everyone to provide some peer feedback this way. And the last part of the session is we are rounding everything up. We introduce a complete concept. We will have start building step by step throughout the course, and and look into lessons learned and what is next. So formative assessment is due on the 9th of October, at which point we expect you to hand in a draft artifact or a digital representation of an artifact and a reflective narrative that should constitute roughly 500 words or equivalent. So a digital artifact can be anything. It can be a photo, it can be a graphic, a video, it can be a Pinterest board, and so on. It could also be a digital representation of a real life teaching situation or a learning object. And the feedback, and then we ask you to provide feedback to 2 of these artifacts until the 16th of October. So your summative assessment, which is due on the 14th of January, is you can create 2 artifacts or digital artifacts and reflective commentary. So that should be roughly 50-50, which means your reflective commentary should be 1,000 words or equivalent, and your artifacts should be the equivalent of roughly 500 words of text. The artifacts can be objects that you have created for teaching. It can be lesson plans that outline active pedagogies. It can be activities that you have planned for teaching or other teaching artifacts. The artifacts should illustrate the ILO 2 in particular. Your reflective commentary should link your 2 artifacts together alongside with literature and should particularly address ILO 1 for the course. You may notice at this point that if you have participated throughout the course in all the activities, and you will have 2 artifacts you could use for that assessment and just bring them together, reflect back on the literature, and make it into a concise submission. However, if you have found that there is something else that came up during the semester in your own teaching and you haven't shared yet and you haven't produced yet, but you would really like to showcase, then this is your place to do so as well. And as usual, if you have any questions, you can contact either me or Vicky and ask them, or go to the forum post and post any questions you have. And we would like to encourage you throughout the session to make use of the forums and have a debate and post questions. We are running this course for the first time, so we will also ask you for an ongoing feedback after each of the sessions to ask, and we ask you only one question after each of the sessions, and would really appreciate if you engage in our ongoing feedback process, because as we said, this is the first time we are running this and we are trying to introduce really complex concepts but make them tangible and hopefully give you enough of engagement and activities and hands-on things that you can actually use and translate directly into your classroom, which is one of our key aims, is that you come out of this course and you actually have developed some learning and teaching material you can use right away in your own teaching, and you have gotten peer feedback and reflection on these activities or on these strategies.